think that's your confession. It's not. It's your defense.
Did you guys have any input in like what was like any one-liners? Like I love the Aretha Franklin one because that really caught me off guard. I think that was perfect.
Like Roosevelt.
Franklin, as in Aretha.
Have any input into that or like?
No, the script was the script. We added our our nuances, but the framework was the framework. That ultimately it rested with the words rest with Peter. If we had a something that we wanted to add, we showed it potentially, but then it's on the creator to be able to say, so we all had that ability to be able to play, but ultimately it rested with Peter about whether or not he liked the idea or not.
We had a 3-year conversation
About the script?
Courtney's cast, and we're talking all of the time about the scripts that exist and scripts that don't exist, right? And I've got the huge advantage of having him to help me, having him to think about, having him to watch. I'm looking at dailies, seeing the things he's doing in court, learning from them, and using it for things that are not yet written, to write them, So it's one of the great things about the film making process. When it's slow like that, it has a real advantage,
If you're open, because as you told me, there's several, showrunners that you can't touch their script.
Yeah.
The script is the script.
Oh yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
look, it says it here. End of conversation.
Yeah. You do what it says on the paper.
oh look, it's right there.
Don't change it.
Why are we talking? That was and he's right. It's there, but he allowed us to have and it may end up staying right there. But at least we were able to have a dialogue about the ending of the of pieces. I'm just thinking about the ending of the second season, the moments, and we're discussing. But what are we saying? What are we ultimately saying? If we do it that way, this is what they're going to be. And so you don't want to have to end with that and have to potentially, if you see surveys about how people are responding, then have to potentially reshoot that.
Right.
As opposed to...
I think that relationship between writer and actor, it's so interesting because, here's a man who is thinking about this role all of the time. For 2 or 3 years. What kind of madness would it be on the part of a writer to not want to tap into that thinking? Right? Really odd. It would be like refusing to do research or something.
A disservice.
But by the way, that's the other thing, is you got to keep looking. You got to keep going to the real places. You got to keep going to 26th and California, the courthouse, and sit there. And it's amazing the number of bits of texture, bits of stuff that you pick up just from being there. Of course. Terrible idea to have a writer's room on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, writing about the south side of Chicago. Why wouldn't you bring the writers to Chicago and be there? Of course. It's always blindingly obvious to me, really difficult to persuade people making shows to
They
do
have
that.
no access to what it looks like. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because they don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to. I know it's
No, people don't want to pay for them to leave their homes. That's what it is. People are happy to leave their homes and go to them, right?
If you're paying
right?
them, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But 6 writers in the writers' room, all of whom incredibly, wonderful individuals. Lots of whom are from Chicago.
Okay.
And have life experience of the things that we're writing about, which is really important to me as the white, 50-something, British outsider. Very important to get people who know on the inside. To add to what I see as my value is my outsider perspective coming in to America, with some background, because I'm a lawyer myself.
This is the most important thing you'll ever hear me say. Run, Moses. Run for your life.
My background, I'm half black, half Japanese.
Huh.
So my mom, although she grew up in Hawaii, she understands a lot. Like being with my father, she understands a lot of like, hey, you gotta, be careful, this, and that. She understands that.
Yeah.
What do you feel that other cultures can take from this particular series, even if they may not have any particular experiences? What do you think that other cultures will be able to take from this series, from watching?
Well, human emotion is human emotion. I firmly believe if you build it, they will come. If you set it up, and if you set up a situation about, a mother, and the police coming in and say, tell us what your son is, that's not my boy. My boy doesn't do that. That's a human, a mother's
Human reaction.
Human. So it doesn't matter that and you're saying to me as a mom, to tell you here, take the phone. I mean, that's a seminal moment in the film. Take the phone and tell them to come. And this is the most important. Is Andreen in here? She's not in here right now. It's the most important. She says, and the policeman thinks that she's going to tell him to come on in. And she said, run, that's not my boy. And all mothers are like, yeah, different colors and races and hues. They're cheering. I mean, and then the piece takes off because then this is, I'm going to fight for my family. I don't care what I have to do. And then she, that's where my character comes into, I'm fighting with my family about defending her family, and everybody's right, everybody's wrong. And that's, those human emotions of putting us, you get yourself into a situation out of the blue that you just know that this young man is going forward. I was, raised in a middle class to lower class and situation and set up for success. And I can imagine if, that's what the young lady was saying last night at the screening, that she raised her boy, she's 22, he's 22, to be, he was raised in the suburbs, and she's looking at this, and every day she knows it doesn't matter if they pull him over, no matter how he was raised, they just see the color of his skin, he's gone. And everything that they worked for and he worked for in the blink of an eye, that's when Moses in the screening yesterday said, I just want my life back. I just want to be able to run again. I want to be able to be in college. I want that, and that's a human emotion, and it could happen to anybody. We have to train our young people. I was brought up and trained about how to deal with police. Keep your eyes down. I had to have that conversation with my son. About don't that's an Emmett Till moment. His mother said it, but he didn't really hear it at 14, and it cost him everything. So it happens today. That's those things about when do we, and that's white folks don't have to do that with their children. They don't have to have that conversation because the policeman to them is their friend.
Right, you're here to help.
No, I don't have to have that conversation with my children, and I go around in the world feeling safe.
Right.
And that's the white condition, and it's different from other ethnic groups.
And that can be, just the idea that, we're just having a conversation. That's all we're doing. We're just having a conversation. It's not guilt or it's your fault this is just the realities, and that I can hear his reality, he can hear my reality, and maybe we can learn a thing or two from each other's reality going forward. And maybe when if a couple of people that hear that reality, and maybe one day somebody will be in a room that can be in a position to make it to change that, because they're the chief of police or the head of this or the head of that, and they can go, guys, we need to make a shift. What? We need to train, reboot our training processes. Okay. It starts like that. One person at a time. And that's how it begins, and that's how things change. And that's what Rosa Parks was. That's what Martin Luther King and the Montgomery bus boycott was. That's what the verdict in George Floyd was. And at a certain point, because I have to be hopeful, at a certain point, it'll all add up, and people. I don't know if it is going to take some sort of tragedy for us to, which it probably will, because people don't want to change. Change is very difficult for us. So but I have to believe that change will come, and our parents and grandparents, if they can do it and not see the results of it, if they can have hope and still go forward, even though they know in their lifetime they're not going to see it, they're not going to benefit from the work that they're doing now. Mm-hmm. They're not. They knew that, but they still did it. That's my hope. That's my prayer. That's why I do what I do, so that one day nobody will have to deal with that. We'll deal with other things, but it won't be that.
I definitely am really excited for this. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you
I
very
look
much.
forward to it, and you guys enjoy the rest of your time here in Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Great interview.